at the beginning of the pier right now, and the receiver, sorry, the transmitter is down there, right in the middle. My feed looks nice and clear. All right, so for the past few weeks, I've had a ton of fun using this gear right here. This is from Hollyland, and if you guys are familiar with my channel, I did a recent video on the Hollyland microphone system, the little personal small mic system that works really, really well if you just want to hook it up to something like your cell phone. But that same company, Hollyland, also does a lot of things with video transmission. And I actually spoke to them at NAB, and they recently came out with these right here, which is called the Pyro S. And the Pyro S is these two devices right here, which is a transmitter, which you hook up directly to your camera, and you're now able to transmit that signal or that video over to a receiver. If this is plugged into a monitor, you're now able to see that live feed wirelessly with this system. Now, along with the Pyro S, Hollyland also came out with this right here, which is the Pyro 7 or 7-inch monitor. And the one thing that's really cool about this, not only is it a 7-inch 1200 nit monitor, it is a transmitter and receiver built into one. So if you are a solo content creator like myself, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about how I've been able to use this. And not just that, I wanted to stress test the gear in a professional live setting. I called one of my buddies up, Michael Lagman, who actually does event videography. And he's actually the main live stream videographer for these events. And we were able to put these through the stress test, putting him outside 2 straight days, shooting for at least 10 hours a day live stream. And they actually worked out really, really well. So this video, I just want to go through with you guys some of the things I really like about the Pyro S as well as the Pyro 7-inch monitor. Go through some of the scenarios I went through and also some of the things I think they might be able to improve on their next system. And a huge thanks to Hollyland for sending me out this gear to review. However, everything you're hearing in this video, pros and cons, are my opinion, my experiences. Hollyland is not looking at the video and making any edits to it. This is all based off of the things that I went through after using it for the past couple weeks. Now, the first thing I do want to talk about is more use cases. Being a solo content creator, why would I need a system like this? Well, the first thing I thought about when Hollyland said they were gonna send it out to me was that I'm able to now use a system like this to preview my footage when I'm shooting instead of having wires or cables hooked up to all my gear, which I pretty much do have here in my studio. Now, in situations like this, where I have my A-cam shooting, I have a monitor here on top. Now, ideally, I'd like that monitor to be a lot closer, and of course, you would just have to hook up an HDMI cable to it, and to bring that basically closer to me, the subject. And I also have a top rig right here doing some top-down shots. Now, this also has a HDMI cable, which is running all the way down the boom arm into the support line and then into my other monitor. And maybe you might want to just clean up your setup by having everything wireless. Also, I do a lot of corporate videos, and whenever I have a 2-camera shoot, I'll normally want to be able to set up a camera on the side and then be able to monitor that camera while I'm shooting with my A-cam. Being away and a greater distance away from that B-cam, it's really nice to have a wireless system like this so that you don't have to run cable, and I'm able to be mobile with a wireless system. I don't have to be tethered to that monitor at all times. When you're setting up multiple cameras, having to run lines is the last thing you want to do. And that's what these are for. You're able to now set up a bunch of cameras in different locations, and you're now able to see what the camera sees because of these wireless transmitters. Now, because these are wireless systems, of course, the first thing that comes to mind is how good is the transmission. Now, these are rated for 1,300 feet line of sight from your transmitter to receiver in order for you to get a solid feed. And at our most recent event, we just did that live stream where the camera was set right in the middle of the floor, or the dance floor, and I was all the way up the top of the pier just trying to see if there's any issues. No issues there as far as transmission goes. At the beginning of the pier right now, and the receiver, sorry, the transmitter is down there, right in the middle. My feed looks nice and clear. Now, I did try to push the distance a little bit, walked down the pier, and I started to have a little bit of a breakup there because I was actually breaking up the line of sight between the transmitter and receiver. So I started seeing a little pixelation, and then it finally cut out once I was behind the building. All right, so it's starting to break up a little bit, but I think the main reason why is because I don't have direct line of sight anymore. So it's still playing, you just start seeing a little bit of the pixelation on there. Now, as far as latency goes, it is really low latency at 50 milliseconds, and using this as mostly just a monitor to see and position your camera did not have any issues there as far as the latency goes for my use case. The one new feature that we do have here on the Pyro S is that you are able to hook up 4 separate receivers to one transmitter. So if you are on a more commercial professional set and you wanted the director to have his own monitor, and you wanted maybe a DP to see their own monitor, and maybe another person that's going to be setting up the scene on another monitor, you are able to connect 4 different receivers with this one transmitter. Now, one reason why we have pretty strong signals between these two is because we do have the auto dual band hopping between 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands, ideally giving you a lot more reliable of a feed. Now, the first thing you'll notice once you touch these transmitters and receivers is the build quality. These are all magnesium alloy aluminum, and they just feel and look really, really high end. On the very top, we do have 3 screw-in antennas. Pretty standard antennas that you'll see on most transmitters and receivers. The one thing I would like to see is if there's a way for us to integrate the antennas, just because having to pack them away, I always have to unscrew them. It would be nice if there's like some way to just kind of fold them down, fold them in, possibly on their next versions. We have a USB-C as well as a DC power here at the very bottom. The one thing Michael did point out when we were using this in his setup on the live stream is that the USB-C is not able to be powered. You're not able to power the device off of USB-C. You're going to need an MPF battery here on the back, or you're going to hook up the DC to something like a D-tap battery, like a V-mount battery. You're able to power it off that way. So it was kind of a bummer to see you're not able to use USB-C as a power source, because all of his setup was already USB-C ready, and we weren't able to do that, which means we had to hook it up through DC and then plug it into a separate power port. Like I mentioned earlier, we use these outdoors live streaming for about 8 to 10 hours, 2 days straight, and these things did not overheat once. There's a built-in fan here on the very back of the transmitter and receivers, and these things worked really, really well. That was one of the things I was concerned about. It was extremely hot while out there shooting, and I was really worried because these were out there on a 15-foot pole, baking in the heat, and they worked really, really well. No dropouts, no issues as far as that live feed goes using the system. Now, if you're using multiple systems on set, the great thing is you can actually group them, so you can actually still be able to toggle through the groups, but still use the entire system seamlessly. Next, we'll jump over to this right here, which is the Hollyland PyroS 7 or 7-inch monitor. And this combo was awesome to use out there when we were setting up our cameras, positioning them, trying to get them really dialed in, and having the ability to walk around with the camera and the monitor and be able to make those micro adjustments right on set. Now, being that this is my first time really putting it to the test as far as a live setting go, the one thing I really like about this system is that it was pretty much plug and play. Once you hook it up, as far as the receiver and the transmitter goes, turn everything on, everything literally just connected. If you guys know me, I'm big on user experience, and when things just plug and work, that makes things just way easier. I didn't pull out any instructions. I didn't really have to, because you just assumed it would plug in and work, and it actually did. The one thing that was really cool for me to see is that all you have to do is have the monitor here on the stand, that they're sitting back in the back with the switchboard. I'm able to now roam the event and shoot wirelessly back to this monitor, and they're able to see exactly what I'm shooting. So if they wanted to switch to that cam, they're able to. That's just something I'm not used to. I know a lot of people that do events and things like that. It's probably just another day for them, but being able to do it so simply, because it was plug and play, and having that ability to just walk around, be mobile with your gear, was really nice to experience, especially being the shooter in the field. Now, as far as some of the options we have on this monitor, at the very top, we have 2 customizable buttons, F1 and F2. You're able to program those to whatever shortcuts you want. Here at the very top, we also have a power switch, which is also nice. It does have that physical switch, turns green if it's on, red if it's powered off. On the back, we have spaces for 2 MPF batteries. What's actually nice about this is that they are hot swappable. Swap out the other one, and then you are able to continuously shoot, not have to worry about the power going down. On the very bottom, we do have multiple ports. Like I said, this is a transmitter and receiver, or receiver. So you do have SDI in and also SDI out, HDMI in, HDMI out, headset, USB-C, as well as the DC power here on the left. When it comes down to mounting options, we have quarter 20s on 3 sides. We have both sides here, as well as the very bottom. The very bottom one I use with an Arca Swiss plate, so I'm able to put it onto something like a adjustable monopod. Now those quarter 20s around here are really nice to have just because depending on how you mount your monitor. It would have been nice too on the transmitter receivers if we had multiple mounts. We only have the quarter 20 here at the very bottom. It would have been nice if maybe we had one more on the side, only because depending on how your rig is set up, sometimes you don't always have the ability to hook it up like I do. I kind of made this thing a really small compact one, which I really like. And just like most of the professional monitors out there, we do have all of these standard options here at the very bottom. We have everything from waveforms, false color, built-in LUTs, histograms, vector scopes, focus peaking, zebras, and other ones like aspect ratio and zoom and grid options. The one that is nice is that they do have some built-in LUTs here, and if you did have some custom LUTs that you wanted to import, all you have to do is pop them into this included 32 gig card that goes right into the side, drop your LUT on there, pop that in, then you're able to go to the menu and import that LUT into the system. Now, as far as the price goes, I just recently pulled it up on Amazon, and the Pyro S system, which is the transmitter and receiver, this used to be $699. Right now, it is $449. I'll make sure I leave the link here on screen as well as down below, but it's a huge discount or a huge price drop they just recently have, considering these things are still really, really new. And when it comes down to the 7-inch monitor from Hollyland, comes in at $549. And if you have been in the market looking for a monitor in general to use for your camera, now you have the ability to have a built-in receiver and transmitter. So all you have to do is actually buy one of the other ones here, and you're now able to hook that up to this monitor. And there it is, guys, the all-new Hollyland PyroS, as well as the Pyro 7-inch. If you're a solo content creator like myself, you want to clean up maybe your studio, or you want the ability to disconnect and have a wireless system while you're out there in the field, this is definitely a system that you're going to want to look into. I'll leave links to these products down below in the video description. And of course, if you guys got some value from this video, a big like would be much appreciated. This is Ultra Stasio with FlytPath.com. See you guys in the next one. Take care.